I call the meeting of the Urbana Historic Preservation Commission to order. Could we have the roll call, please?
Mr. Dossett?
Here.
Ms. Novak?
Here.
Ms. Peluso?
Here.
Mr. Seiler?
Here.
Mr. Shepherd is excused, and Ms. Smith?
Here.
We have a quorum. We have no changes to the agenda. The next item on the agenda then is the approval of the minutes of our last meeting, which was June 5th. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes for that meeting?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Minutes are approved. Audience participation, are you here with the case?
What's on your agenda?
Elm Street.
Elm Street, correct.
Okay, so we'll just wait for you for the case, the hearing. We have no other audience members. No continued public hearings and no old business, so the next item is new public hearings, and I hereby open case number HP-2013-COA-05, an application for a certificate of appropriateness to replace a side porch at 504 West Elm Street. Josh Daly, representing the Freeman Sutton Mansions Limited Corporation, is the applicant. And we'll start with staff report from our new Rebecca Nathanson. Welcome.
Well, I guess I'll first just open up the case. Josh Daly submitted this application for a certificate of appropriateness for 504 West Elm Street to replace a side porch. It is on the east elevation, and I'm going to be going through the existing conditions and the drawing that was submitted for the details of the replacement of all of the porch elements. And so here's the first exhibit, is the location map of 504, the property, and the porch is located on the east elevation towards the back. And then I thought I would show you, this is the Sanborn map of the property, and you can see, you can see this on your screens? Okay. You can see actually the porch, what we believe is the porch, right here. Let's see, actually. Okay. So you can see it. This is what we believe to be the porch. The circles have to do with the fire, for the fire department, but that is the porch that is under consideration for certificate of appropriateness today. Okay, and so I'm going to go over the existing conditions, but start off with a little bit of background about the property. This is a photo. The property was built in 1902. The architect was Joseph Royer, and it was built for the owners, Gus and Alice Busey Freeman. And in June 2007, the commission passed an ordinance to designate this a historic landmark, which is why in our zoning ordinance, any changes or new construction pertaining to a porch has to be approved by the commission. So anyways, this photo is taken right around the construction of the home, so right around 1902, which is when it was built. This is a photo of the house today. And when the house was designated as a local landmark, it was argued that really the majority of the external features of the house were largely unchanged, but wanted to just point out a few features that you'll notice. First of all, the balustrades are not existing on the original. A few other items are the dental work on the frieze, the sort of first tier. It's no longer there, and it was there, I believe, in the original. It does still exist on the overhang of the porch, and there is frieze that and dental work that I'll discuss in a moment on the porch. But wanted to point out that there have been gutters added to the front of the house. The frieze that runs along the front porch, and that's something that we're also going to mention later. So this is a photo of the porch as it exists today. This photo was taken in December. And in February of 2013, a housing inspection cited the porch as dilapidated and unsafe for occupant use, so it's been closed for repair since then. And the stairs it had some stairs, but they've since been removed for repair. And the order that I'm going to go through the existing conditions are mostly the order that they're addressed in the memo. So that was, when I wrote the memo, alphabetical. But if we're kind of jumping around architecturally, that's why. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about is the brick pier. And you can see this photo, you can see just some of the deterioration here. Here's a close-up of the brick pier. Again, the brick deterioration, and you can see here some more deterioration. This is another close-up of the side. Let's see, that would be the north side, and some debris next to it. Also wanted to call your attention to the skirt board, which is wooden and completely deteriorated as well. Next, I wanted to talk about the dental frieze and the dental work and the frieze, excuse me. So you can see the dental work, it's missing some pieces here. The roof is kind of missing and caved in at the top. You can see the frieze, the paint is chipping, the wood is not in good condition. Here's another photo of the frieze and the dental. And then moving to the existing condition of the roof. You can see, again, deterioration, paint chipping, the wood rotted. The condition of the asphalt is poor, and the roof has had a lot of water damage. Actually, the whole porch has, but it does not have a gutter, so it's been particularly susceptible to water damage. Here's another photo of the roof, and you can see the deterioration here. Another photo, existing condition. Moving to the porch floor. Again, you can see the rotted wood. It's not safe for use, so it's been closed off. Just the foundation of it is structurally very weak. And lastly, moving to the windows. The north elevation windows completely been removed from the frame, and it's sitting on the floor currently. It does have the front windows intact. This is the south elevation window, which I believe is also missing, but it's hard to tell from this photo. And the front elevation windows are still there. But you can tell that the frame of them, the paint is chipping, the wood is in poor condition. And given that the north elevation window is completely out of the frame, the others are likely in a weak condition. So then I wanted to move to pointing out these features as they were presented in the application, and how they will be, how the applicant has pointed out that they will be replaced. And it's a little hard to see here. So I wanted to go through them in a similar order, the order that they're addressed in the memo. So the first thing I wanted to call your attention to, and there's a lot of detail on here, so I just pulled out a few things that I thought were important, but the applicant, Josh Daly, is here to answer any other questions or any questions that you have. Let's see. So first, drawing your attention to the brick pier. The proposal is to repair the brick pier with new mortar. So that would facilitate the structural integrity. And then the second thing that we looked at was the dental work and the freeze. And the applicant has said that the dental work will be scribed, measured, and that this would be done using the original dental work. So they would make every effort to replicate it exactly. Then I looked at the roof, and the proposal is to include a gutter that would match the gutter existing on the rest of the house currently. So even though the original house did not have a gutter, part of what has led to the current condition is because of water damage. So this would really facilitate the longevity of the replacement, of the proposed replacement. The applicant has proposed installing handrails, which would make the porch up to code, so they're actually required. These would be wood, and they would be painted white to match the porch on the front of the house. There would also be posts, also made out of wood, and the post caps have been proposed to be made of PVC or metal. And coming over here. And again, this is the order that they are listed in the memo, so that's why what the numbers correspond to. So the posts, again, would be wooden 4x4 posts with caps to run on both sides of the porch. And this is all the materials on the porch would be painted white except for the tread or the stairs. And actually, we just caught this today, but need to clarify with the applicant. Here it says that the porch boards would not be painted, but actually says up here that they would, so we can clarify that. So moving to the porch floor, which was the only issue that I found, and myself and another city staff, Steve, we discussed this with the applicant, that the porch boards in the original are actually run west to east, and in the drawing they are north-south, and the applicant, when we spoke to him, said that changing that would be no problem, so we're waiting for revised drawings. Okay, and the stairs. So the stairs would also be treated wood. They would not be painted. I discussed this with the applicant and agree with him that because of their use, that actually painting them would alter their aesthetic more quickly. So leaving them as just unpainted wood, that aesthetically that would be a preferable choice. So that's why they are not painted. And last but not least, the windows. have been proposed. The scale, the proportions all match the original. And they would be new windows, non-insulated single pane. This is what exists there currently. And wood frames also exist there currently. Provide the same look as the existing windows. And also, the transom window above the entry will also be replaced. So all of these windows as well will be new, but the scale and proportions all matches what's there currently, and the frames would be made out of wood, which is also what is there now. So moving to, I wanted to just call your attention to the standards of rehabilitation by the National Park Service. And my own thoughts are that the porch will continue to be used as a porch. It's an entryway for one of the units in the building. The historic character of a property will be retained and preserved. And I believe, given the detail of the proposed replacement, would retain and preserve the historic character of the building and the property. Changes that create a false sense of historical development will not be undertaken. Don't believe that that's the case here, given the precise scale and proportion of materials that are proposed for the replacement. And where the severity of deterioration requires replacement. So obviously replacement is the last preferable choice. But given the existing condition of the porch, that it's been deemed unsafe and unusable by housing inspectors with the city, and the current condition of the wood, that it's completely deteriorated, that it seems like replacement is the option here. So replacing it so that it matches the integrity of what was there. I believe that the proposal matches the old in design, color, texture, and where possible, materials. And that's included in the packet. Oops. So moving towards the criteria for what's required for an approval of a certificate of appropriateness. And this is according to section 12.6C in the zoning ordinance. We want to maintain the significant original qualities and character of the building, which I believe that the replacement does. Retain and preserve the historical character of the property, and do not undertake changes that create a false sense of historical development. And the applicant, from my conversations, has gone through, has undertaken significant research of the property, and Rebecca Bird also relayed this to me, that time was spent looking at old photos in the Urbana Free Library, and that a lot of effort has been made to really try to make the replicate as accurate, as historically accurate as possible. And actually, it was even the applicant who pointed out to me that the balustrades are not original to the home. So we actually discussed putting balustrades on the back porch to match the front porch, but because the balustrades aren't original, that was not included in the proposal. And again, criteria 6, rather than replace deteriorated historic features, repair rather than replace, but where the severity of deterioration requires replacement, the new feature will match the old in design, color, texture, and where possible, materials. So under the criteria 9 for new construction, because the porch was there originally, this is a little blurry as to, it's not technically new construction, but yet it will be new materials added to the original structure. So, but wanted to call your attention to some of these criteria underneath. Item C, the proportions and relationships between doors and windows will match and be compatible. And because effort has been made to replicate the original proportions, these all are in agreement. The design and the roof shall be compatible. So because, again, we're replicating what was there originally, arguing that it is compatible with the rest of the building because the proposed replicate is very accurate in its scale and proportion. So staff has recommended approving the certificate under the condition that the floorboards of the porch are historically accurate in their recreation so that they run the correct direction. Yeah, if you have any questions, I will try to answer them.
Any questions for Rebecca? Kim?
So do you know what the landing height is above grade? Is it over 30 inches?
I don't know. I can find that out.
Because you may be required to put a guardrail up the side if it's greater than.
I spoke to Steve about that, and he said it would be okay if we didn't have the balustrades. Yeah, he said that would be okay.
Okay. And you don't need the extensions on the handrails at the top and the bottom.
I believe that's correct. Yeah.
Is the slope of the roof the same?
Yes,
Okay.
I believe so.
And then I noticed that it's they're going back with the smooth-faced hardy panel infill material on the studs. Will the skirt boards, are those hardy board also, or are they wood?
I think you'll have to ask. I'll have to check that with the applicant. Oops.
Did you have other questions, Kim, of Rebecca?
No, that was it.
Gina or Scott? Scott?
Yeah, I had a question. Can we look back at the nice old picture that you had at the house, of the house? Yeah, I was just looking at I was trying to see whether the steps on the porch in the back, which I believe are the ones that you can see to the extreme right of the photo, are right there. Aren't those the steps that you can see? That's a different. No, that's.
Are these the porch steps?
There's another door that goes up there. What kind of step is that now, or is that feature gone from the house? Let me take a look. I guess I was just kind of wondering to myself. It's behind the dumpster. You can't see. I was just wondering if, given what the house looks like now, the applicant had considered, something like a poured concrete kind of step arrangement that looks a little bit more fitting to the front of the house, especially if there is another set of steps on the side, and I don't know that there are, and I don't know how the other members of the committee would feel about that, but that was just kind of a question that I had. I'm not a super fan of cast concrete steps necessarily, but they would certainly match the front of the house better that way if that were deemed to be something that was important. So that's the only comment I had.
Did you have a question?
I think they're gone. Yeah.
It used to be here.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
gone. There was a door
Oh,
here,
up-
but there's
oh.
no steps here.
Yeah, I was having trouble telling if the front steps
Yeah,
were.
so that maybe the steps were right there, where that glass block wall is now. Okay.
Can you go back to the historic photograph again, please?
Sure.
Yeah, it's just hard to tell what these are.
Those look like they were wood.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Could you show a photograph of the transom window in the porch? Is it just a single pane, or it looks funny in the middle? I can't tell. Oh, it's just maybe a reflection or something.
Yeah, I think it's a single.
Okay.
I had a question. Do you think originally this porch was closed in?
We talked about that. I don't think so.
Yeah, so how important is it to put the windows back?
It's a historic alteration, though. So therefore, Secretary Standards would say that it's become part of the house.
Regardless of when it was done.
Right. Any other questions for Rebecca? If not, we can move on and talk with the representative of the property owner, Gina.
Could you go back to the historical picture one more time? Because multiple times it's been said that the house never had gutters, but those are box gutters across the top of the house. There's downspouts coming from something. Those are box gutters. And the current roof on that porch has box gutters. Even though we've said time and time again, there is no gutter, there is gutters. They're there. Because I actually went by and took a look. And there's another
They-
picture,
yeah,
too,
they-
of the roof elevation where you can see the box gutters.
They've been filled in, yeah.
Right there. Those are box gutters. You see how there is that space of about a foot from the side in, and then the roof starts? So those are the original gutters, right there. So the elevation of what's proposed here of the new roof line doesn't really match the old roof line because of that box gutter and because of the setback of the pitch.
Yeah, they routinely get filled in because they don't work very well
Right.
and lead to
Although-
more problems. so.
Did find something online tonight about restoring them and, but obviously they're talking about restoring work, ones that have not been used. I'm just concerned about the difference in the pitch of the roof line based on the drawings and this picture.
Is the whole roof going to be redone, taken away
I'm
and,
going to take the whole thing down, is what I understand.
That's what's
Yeah.
proposed.
I think our questions might be better suited to the architect. If you have no other questions for Rebecca?
Mhm.
Good. Thank you. Mr. Daly? If you could state your name and address, and then we also need you to sign the sheet that's up there as well, too, at some point.
Okay. My name is Josh Daly, and I'm with Mode 3 Architecture in Champaign, 301 North Neal Street, Suite 400.
Do you have anything you want to state, or you're just here for
Sure.
questions?
No, I can answer any questions. I can follow up with some of these. I spent a lot of hours on this house with the owners, making internal repairs to the apartments, mostly code-related issues that housing inspectors found. But this was one of them that they found to be, as Rebecca was saying, really unsafe. And we looked at it very closely with other city staff and neighborhood inspection, and looked underneath the porch. The brick piers, the floor framing, the stair framing, the actual stud walls, the windows have so much water damage and rot that we deemed it unsafe to even stand on, so we closed it off. The intention, as Rebecca was saying, is to keep the proportions in line with what's currently there. So I did a laser measure. I took a laser measure and I measured the entire porch and got it to a 1/16 of an inch for everything that you see here. So I took a lot of time to detail the proportions. The frieze, the windows, the openings, everything is exactly what's currently there as far as size and form. The one thing that I did debate about, as you said, lastly, is the box gutter, which it appears over time has deteriorated as it probably settled, and it appears the water's been cascading over the front for many, many years and in the sides. I went with the standard residential gutter to match the rest of the house because the box gutters on the rest of the house are long gone. So this gutter would match the rest of the house. That was the reasoning going behind it. Box gutters at the time were tin or lead pieces put together, lapped with a mastic or other sealants of the time, and often failed very quickly. The idea was to keep that roof edge detail that is on the existing porch. I will say it is there. There's another piece of trim that is applied to the face of the fascia board. I was suggesting to put this gutter on it to replace that piece of trim because a standard residential gutter has a little curve to it that you can get that would kind of mimic that and match the rest of the house. That was the reasoning behind that. And of course we know that standard residential gutters can be installed to a standard downspout that will be more functional. So that was the approach there. That was the hard one to kind of make a decision on. But other than that, everything else is exactly as it is. You had a question about the grade elevation. The difference in grade is approximately 30 inches. It's just slightly over. And when we were discussing putting guards on both sides, it was deemed that since this is a private entrance to that apartment, it's only used by that apartment only. The occupant load for that apartment is very low, and it's private to the dwelling unit. So if you want to go through code language there, we could look at it and say, well, it's private to the dwelling unit. Even though it's an exterior stair, we could take the rail and go newel post to newel post without a guard. But that's something that we kind of debated about. But the reality is the front guardrails that you see on the house are not original. So if we added a guard, we would be adding something that wasn't original in this situation. But we've got it pretty close to about 30. It's very close to 30 inches, which would meet code. And then the handrail extensions as well, since it's private to the dwelling unit, used only by that single unit. It's not used by the rest of the occupants in the building. The handrail extensions were also deemed unnecessary. All the wood would be cedar. The vertical posts would be cedar wood and painted for long lasting. Cedar is very rot resistant, so it would last long. As Rebecca was saying, the decking boards, will switch those to be perpendicular to the home, which is what it was originally. And we will paint those. We'll use a porch paint, which is what was used on there now. We'll do a porch paint. It's a tongue and groove cedar flooring that will have a porch paint on it for long lasting. And then as she was saying, the treads, because they're so exposed to the weather, you know, when you walk on the treads and risers, there's going to be snow shoveling on the steps and other things, and the second that you paint those steps, the paint will be peeling off in no time. So we were proposing to just leave those as treated lumber, which will gray out over about a year. That's about the lifespan of the green color of treated lumber. It'll gray out about a year later, maybe 2 at the most, and it would survive for a lot longer. But those were the main ones I think I heard questions of.
There was a question about the wood panels and whether those are hardy board, was it, Kim?
Yes. Yeah, we were proposing to use a hardy board product. There's the skirt board as well, yes. Yeah, which is not rot resistant, long lasting. That skirt board would last long because it's going to get some water, especially in the opening. If there's any snow or rainwater that gets on the top riser there, it will flow over down that skirt board and it won't rot out. And that comes pre-painted as well, so it'll last longer. The pitch of the roof is very close. The key factor there was getting it to fit under the window at the second floor, which is right at the apex of that roof. So that was the starting point of the roof. It's probably within about 1/8 of an inch per foot. It's very close to what it was originally. I just extended the slope out to meet the new fascia board, is what I was doing there. We showed trusses, but they can do it they can rafter frame it piece by piece as well.
In the report that we got, there's something about a post cap, and it says the post caps will be reinforced vinyl. What posts are those?
Those would be the newel posts at the
On the rail?
stairs. Yeah.
Okay.
A PVC or a vinyl, those are going to have snow and rain and ice sitting on them. They take a lot of exposure, plus the sun beats down on them. If there's any way to cap the wood, it's good. It'll make the wood post last longer. If we use metal, we could. I think I would propose painting it. The PVC would come in white, so the post would be white, the rails would be white. Everything would be painted as it is you see it. The other thing that we discovered in researching this house is that the entire house was white. It wasn't a two-tone color. It was white. The entire house was all white. So this is obviously showing two-tone. I say two-tone. It's a white trim with a gray, kind of a dark gray infill on the panels. The proposal is to just maintain that. The rest of the house is in the process of being completely repainted. So they've just kept that same color scheme. But that was the goal there. But yes, I agree with you that it's probably some debate whether this porch was enclosed or not. It may have been 2 columns with some steps and a porch that was open on the 3 sides. It's hard to tell. The windows that are in there look like they may be just sashes from other windows that were installed at some
They look
point.
like old storm windows.
Yeah, they look like old storm windows for an old house, right. So they may have borrowed from someplace, but they fit perfectly in their frames, so maybe they were made exactly to fit. It's hard to tell. But every indication was to try and match those as they are and carry it forward as it is.
Other questions of Mr. Daly? Anything?
Sure.
So did you just say that the hardy board that'll be like infilled below the glass will be gray as it is now, or will it be white?
We were going to do gray as it is now.
Because it says that everything will be painted white on here.
Oh, did I say that?
Yeah.
Okay, but I'll correct that. We
Okay.
would match what's the painting that's there now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question about the painting?
Sure.
I mean,
We don't regulate.
we don't regulate that.
Right, I was just wondering.
Oh,
I was
okay.
just curious, because it says white here,
Okay.
but you just said gray, so
Okay.
I just thought I'd ask.
All right. Yeah, we'll keep it as it is. The rest of the painting is, like I said, in progress on the front, and they've kept that same gray and white scheme, so we'll just keep it as it is.
And is there any reason why you can't make the rail caps out of wood?
We could possibly. I was just worried about possible deterioration of it faster, that's all. I mean, we can look into it.
You know, just wondering. I mean, we just did a porch on my house a couple of years ago, and we just had, 4 pieces of wood caulked, and it's painted
Okay.
as rail
Okay.
caps. I don't know if anybody else has a problem with using the vinyl, but. Oh, and how wide is the handrail going to be? I noticed that there's stairs that go upstairs next to the porch, and there's pressure-treated
Yes.
lumber that, if I could get my hand across it, I was probably lucky. I mean, I think they're probably 2x6s or something.
Yeah. That's a whole nother item. Outside of, that's a fire escape that through other inspections, that was deemed an exit requirement, so it was replaced in kind to what was there before. This will be a I believe it's about 2 1/4. It'd be similar to a residential railing that you would see in a home. It's about, I want to say, a 2 to 2 1/4 inch width on it.
So you can grab it?
Right, so you can grab it.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Yep.
If we approve this and the city comes back and says that handrail has to be different, will we get an opportunity to look at it again?
I assume if it's gotten to this point, the city's already looked at it. Yes? So,
Okay.
we're done. Yeah. You're looking skeptical. Well, yeah, I don't know. How does that work?
Yeah, we did speak with Steve Cochran, so he has seen these plans.
Mhm. Well, so our discussion should show that if there's any change to the specifications, that we want to see it again? You want something like that?
Could we administratively approve that portion of it if it gets changed?
We could specify that in a motion, I think. If there are particular concerns, I think that's appropriate to include it as a line in a motion.
What's your concern, Kim? If they have to close. If you have to close in the sides of the rail?
would have to do that. I mean, it's a lot of safety to do that. But they're saying that Steve Cochran said no. He hasn't officially reviewed it. Has it gone for public comment?
We had a general building permit pulled for both this property and the neighboring 502 property to make repairs. So I submitted these drawings under that general building permit. It's been issued. They've both been issued. So this would be an ongoing, I guess, an additional drawing that would go with that. I mean, I'm in agreement. It's if it's 30 inches or more. That was the reasoning that they. I don't know when this occurred, but it was years ago. The porch, the main front porch, the rails were added to the home.
Mm-hmm.
That came about from a neighborhood inspection because they determined that it was. So that those were added because of that. So. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's close. It's the grade slopes up. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'm less concerned about it because we don't know what the stairs looked like originally in that particular spot anyway. Any other questions for Mr. Daly? No? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
And let the records show that we have nobody else in the audience to speak. Anybody want to make a motion? Further discussion?
Well, I'm fine with the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I had one other thing. Since we don't know what the original looked like, I wonder if there was any thought given to maybe putting a storm door on this to protect the floor.
Mm.
Because right now, if you look at it, there's snow all in the inside of that.
Mm.
So I don't know if that would go against the requirements, the regulations, or, and since we don't know what it looked like, would it make sense to somehow add just a simple storm door, maybe even a glass light, to just keep that floor protected?
Did you
We-
think,
I didn't know if there was any door on there or not. It didn't look like there was, but if there was a door, we'd have to swing it in, which isn't an issue, but really at the top and bottom of a stair, you need a landing before the door, and here we don't really have we wouldn't have a landing at the top of the stair. It'd be the top tread, and then the door would be right there. So that'd be the problem. We would need to make a landing outside the door so that you can stand there and be able to open the door from either side. I mean, you have a landing on the inside of the porch. We would need one on the outside as well, so that you're not opening the door and stepping down right away. That would be one concern, I guess. Don't know if there was a door there or not. That's a good question.
okay, thank you. Yep, Scott?
Well, I was going to start on a motion.
Okay.
Make a motion that in case number HP 2013 COA05, the Urbana Historic Preservation Commission grant the applicant's request for a certificate of appropriateness to replace a side porch on a local landmark under authority given in section 12-6-C of the Urbana zoning ordinance.
I'll
And-
second that.
And can we have a friendly alteration to this to include the staff report's porch floor? The two comments on page 7 with the,
Yeah, I guess I considered everything that had happened in the public hearing that you note as part of that already, but if you want to detail that, we can just tell Suki what we want in there.
I think anything that's a change from how the plan is presented needs to be
Needs to
detailed.
be detailed. Okay, so the one caveat that at least I saw when I was going through here, in fact, it said that plans would be redone, so I don't know if you still plan on doing that or not, would be the orientation of the boards on the floor of the porch.
Okay, can you phrase that to go along with your motion?
Sure. Sure, I guess I could. Trying to find the words. Oh, yeah, well, yeah. I guess with the understanding that the porch floor shall be constructed so that the floorboards run, as you said, perpendicular to the house rather than parallel.
Correct.
And Kim, do you accept that with your second as well?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, are there any other concerns of things that we discussed that aren't being covered in the drawings, or? Okay. Any other discussion? If not, could we have the roll call, please?
Mr. Dossett,
Yes.
Ms. Novak,
Yes.
Ms. Paluso,
Yes.
Mr. Seiler,
Yes.
Ms. Smith.
Yes.
The certificate is approved unanimously. Thank you very much, Mr. Daly.
Thank you.
And I hereby close the public hearing, HP-2013-COA-05. I should add, thank you so much for the detail that you put into this. I know it's a
Yes,
side
thank
porch
you.
and toward the rear, but I think it's such a sweet element of the overall architecture of the building that I think it's a really important feature. So thank you for your attention to
Yeah,
detail.
thank you.
We have no new business. Do we have any monitoring of historic properties or staff report?
Regarding the staff report, in November, I attended the IAHPC, the Illinois Historic Preservation Commissioner Roundtable in Springfield, Illinois. That was held at the Old State Capitol and that was a day-long retreat. Robert Myers was there. Rebecca Bird had really encouraged me to go. I was started working as an intern 2 weeks before she left, which wasn't long enough, but that's okay. So I attended that, and I'm working on completing the progress report that Alice mentioned, and we'll send the commission a copy prior to submittal. And I wanted to also let you know that the 5 historic plaques that were ordered arrived in mid-December. That these are for the Sutton House at 502 West Elm, the Smith Russell House at 801 West Indiana, the Colvin House at 604 West Pennsylvania, and the Eli Halberstadt House at 104 North Central. So, I'm sorry, that's 4. And one of them has already been picked up. The Smith Russell House has been picked up and installed, and we've seen photos. It looks great. And I'm in touch with Dave and going to get in touch with the additional property owners about getting the remaining 3 plaques installed this month.
What was the one you said after Smith Russell?
Colvin House?
Oh, yeah. Okay,
So
any
that's it.
questions? Thank you. Any announcements? Did we get through the podcast things before Rebecca left? Rebecca won?
I believe so. The past casts?
Yeah,
Yeah. I believe so.
yeah. So those all got finished, and then, so we have no outstanding grant projects right now?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Okay, anything else, Scott?
Just a motion to adjourn.
Okay. Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. We're adjourned. Thank you.